Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into the fascinating history of human sleep and taking a close look at how our completely modern environment has totally disrupted our ancient biological clock. We spend about a third of our lives doing it, right? But how often do we really stop and think about how the way we sleep has actually changed over time?
So who decides when your day ends? It feels like a choice, doesn't it? You decide when to shut your laptop, when to turn off the TV, when to finally head to bed. But what is truly wild to consider, and I mean really wild, is that for the vast majority of human history, the answer to this question was completely out of our control.
Section 1. The original human clock. For hundreds of thousands of years, humans lived by one absolutely unyielding, incredibly simple clock: the sun. That's it. Our ancestors didn't have alarms, they didn't have schedules, and they definitely didn't have shift work. They relied solely and entirely on the sun to dictate their schedules. The solar cycle was literally the human cycle.
The ancient daily routine was incredibly straightforward. Step 1, the sun rises, so people woke up to hunt, gather, and, survive. Step 2, darkness falls, activity naturally winds down, and they rested beside the fire. And step 3, when true night set in, well, it meant sleep. Human activity was directly, biologically tied to daylight and the completely unavoidable arrival of darkness.
Because you have to remember, their environment looked absolutely nothing like ours. There were no streetlights casting an orange glow through the bedroom window, no light bulbs illuminating the ceiling, and there were for sure no glowing screens just inches from their faces. Night simply meant sleep, because true darkness was completely unavoidable.
Section 2. Escaping the darkness.
Let's look at the timeline. Millennia ago, ancient people used campfires. In antiquity, we saw candles and simple oil lamps. But these early lights were pretty dim, right? They could only illuminate a very small area, so the human body continued to just follow the natural rhythm of day and night. But then, as we hit the industrial age, with incredibly bright artificial lighting, and today with glowing screens literally everywhere, everything changed. As civilizations advanced, our ability to hold back the dark just exploded.
And what's really fascinating here is the sheer scale of the change. Artificial lighting became brighter, it became drastically cheaper, and it was suddenly available almost everywhere. Homes, streets, factories, and entire cities could stay illuminated long after sunset. For the very first time in our history, humans essentially removed the limits of daylight. We were no longer bound by the sun going down.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive shift in our behavior. Ancient evenings followed the natural, unyielding rhythm of day and night. But our modern evenings? Well, because we escaped the darkness, we now work later, we socialize later, and we go to bed much later. We basically invented an entirely new phase of human life, the active, illuminated night.
Section 3. The melatonin delay.
Okay, let's dive into this biological catch. To understand it, we really have to talk about melatonin, the hormone that helps prepare the body for sleep. This is the exact scientific mechanism inside your brain that acts as a biological signal, basically telling all your systems to power down, cool off, and get ready to rest.
So the crucial point is what scientists have actually discovered about our modern lighting. Bright light at night can literally delay the release of melatonin. Your brain sees the bright lights of your living room or the street outside, and it gets confused. It thinks the sun is still up. So it blocks the release of this crucial hormone, fundamentally altering your body's readiness for sleep.
Section 4. The modern screen age.
Fast forward to today, and many of us spend our evenings entirely surrounded by artificial light. And modern screens? Well, they add even more direct, intense light exposure right into our retinas. Phones, tablets, televisions, they act like miniature suns that we just stare at right before bed, keeping so many of us wide awake long after the actual sun has disappeared.
Section 5. Our biological mismatch.
We're dealing with a massive clash here. On one hand, our ancient biology evolved for a world where literal, unavoidable darkness was the clear signal to rest. But on the other hand, our modern lifestyle demands something totally different. The result is that our ancient biological clock severely struggles to keep up. We essentially have Paleolithic hardware trying to run a 24/7, 21st century software program.
Now, we have to be fair here. Artificial light absolutely changed the world for the better in countless ways. It allowed people to work, travel, heal, and create long after sunset. It drove the industrial and technological revolutions. I mean, it is a massive pillar of human progress. But with all that incredible progress, we have to ask,
How did it transform the simple act of going to sleep? It took one of the oldest, most natural human behaviors, something governed purely by the rotation of the Earth, and turned it into something we have to consciously manage and, honestly, something we often struggle with.
For hundreds of thousands of years, humans followed the rhythm of the sun. Now, the switch on the wall often decides when our day ends. So the next time you flip that switch at night, think about the thousands of generations before you who never had that power, and the ancient biological clock inside you that is still trying its best to adjust to it.